All right, this here is episode 11 of the Dart. Episode 12 overall, including the BMW episode. This is not in the episode, but there is still work going on. It kind of blew up, so it took up a lot of space, but this will be later. Still working on engine assembly, getting the cam installed. Discovered that I wasn't super trustworthy in my torque wrench, so had to wait for a new torque wrench to show up, and getting ready to degree camshaft. Enjoy it. All right, do it again. Man, y'all got some fire coming out for All right, so the other day I was checking stretch on the rod bolts, and I noticed my torque wrench required substantially more torque to get stretch than what ARP said the torque number should be if you weren't measuring stretch. And as a result, I tested my torque wrench and it seemed pretty light. So I got, additionally my torque wrench had been stored with it cranked all the way to the max setting instead of all the way backed off. So I had diminished trust in my torque wrench. So I ordered one. So that I can feel confident in the fact that my rods and mains are actually torqued to where they're supposed to be. Now I could send my torque wrench out and get it calibrated, but that would have taken longer. I could or I could buy one, and I don't know what it costs to get a torque wrench calibrated, but I could have tried to calibrate it myself, which I had even less confidence in. However, torquing the mains, I mean, they torque right to 85 foot-pounds, which is where I set them with my torque wrench. really supposed to be a 2-car garage, but it sure doesn't feel like it when one's all blown apart in here. Still shy. And again, we're looking for 6 thousandths of bolt stretch, which is not a lot. And we're at 4.9. So I see why people just torque them. I guess it's more of an approximation. I've never torqued them by bolt stretch in my life, so it is a bit more of a tedious process. And just slapping them with a torque wrench and going on about your day. I would have certainly been done with this process. Turn on the air conditioner. I guess I've gotten weak, but if I can work with air conditioner as opposed to no air conditioner, I certainly do. I kind of forget it's there. It's not super hot outside, but it warms up in the garage pretty quick. On to the next one, I suppose. don't know what the viscosity rating of this stuff is, but it's a lot. Probably saw in the last one I forgot to measure one of the bolts, which made it more effort. Once it was in the block to measure than it would have been if it was measured prior to me putting it in. Now I've lost my measuring device. How? How did I lose my measuring device? I haven't barely moved from the area. I'm sure y'all saw where I put it. It's because it's still hanging off the other rod bolt. Now, I'm going to put the cam in today. I'm go ahead and put the timing set on, but I can't degree the cam. I gotta wait for a TDC stop to come in. It's just a comp cam. It's not anything crazy. I don't know if you can see the specs on it. 477 lift, 480 lift. Like I say, it's nothing insane. 110 lobe degree or 110 degree lobe separation, and then advertised lift is 268 intake and 280 exhaust. It's certainly bigger than factory, but like I said, I can't degree it today, but I can pop it in there. I'm going to use Comp's cam lube and hang with it. And then once my TDC stock comes in, I'll degree it to the best of my ability. It's very close to top dead center right now. I'm going to wipe out this assembly lube that's kind of run into the cam bearings. Because I want to use the comp stuff on the camshaft, but just kind of prevent me having different lubes sitting right on top of each other. Really doubt that it makes much of a difference. Little tag on Comp's cam that says if you don't use Comp cam break-in oil, could cause failure to the camshaft. I've got break-in oil coming. I think we're ways away from starting it just because of some of the other stuff that has to be done. So they don't come with new keyways. I don't even think I tried to take the keyway out of the old cam. Cam was in really bad shape. There was just a lot of rust that affected that old cam. think I'm going to put gloves on for this process, because this stuff is going to be gross. Basically, just use the timing gear as a lever to pick up the back of the camshaft. Yeah, and that assembly lube does not feel all that different from that Permatex stuff that I've been using. Alright, so it's installed straight up right now. Once I get my degree stuff, I'll degree it and see where I'm actually at. This keys, or this timing set does have the 4-degree keyways, 4 degrees advanced, 4 degrees retarded, which is going to give you a 2-degree change up here. Once I get it degreed, I will at least be able to tell if I need to go order an offset keyway, or how close we are to what it's supposed to be. The little offset keyway is hyper expensive for what it is. I mean, it's a really small piece of metal, but $20 just seems like more than a person should have to pay for what essentially looks like a defective keyway. But if it requires adjusting, what are you going to do? Not do it? So that's pretty much where I'm set for now. No matter what, this time it has to come back off. there's a thrust plate that goes in here. I suppose I could have put that on. I may actually go ahead and take this back off and do it. I think Chevrolet, I think they use a cam button that sits here on the end of the cam and bumps against the timing cover. Chrysler uses this thrust plate. What's kind of odd about the thrust plate is they also use this dripper. This is supposed to oil the timing chain. Well, it's not supposed to, it does. But as a result of the timing chain oiling plate, this little piece here, which you can see it comes off. As a result of that, you only get 3 bolts in here, although it's threaded for 4. I should probably find out what the torque spec is on those. And I may drill a hole in this one. I know some of the factory ones have a hole drilled here. This one did not, this bolt. It's not a huge hole, but the idea is to allow oil to run through the bolt down here and onto the drip oiling that they provide the timing chain. They also have an oil slinger that goes here, which I'll put that on later. But the oil slinger really, I think it primarily lubricates the fuel pump eccentric, which I've got a new one of those that's moly coated. But still, it's supposed to sling oil onto that fuel pump eccentric. But I'm going to go and drill a really small hole in this and then come back to this. Alright, so there it is with a hole in it. Idea of that hole, this bolt hole actually goes into the oil galley on the other side of the channel wall. And as the oil builds up there, it's supposed to let oil drain down here, run onto the drip plate. I don't know how much it matters. The factory didn't think enough of it to put it in there, so. But I have seen them from the factory that way. So I did use a drill press just to, I'm not sure how well that would work with the drill. And I blew it out with compressed air. Shot some parts cleaner through there. I'm gonna clean it some more, I think. I'm not trusting it.
You would think I would learn faster than that, but these gloves I have do not like brake cleaning. They literally come apart the second brake clean touches them. But some of us are slow learners, I guess. Alright. Now I've got to go find a torque spec. So torque spec on these guys is 210 inch-pounds, which is like 17.5 foot-pounds. Inch-pounds is not much. That's 25 inch-pounds. It's like 2 foot-pounds, 2.5 foot-pounds. My big torque wrench does go that low, but seems a little less trustworthy. Like I said, I will degree it. You can see that that oiling tab just sits out here, and it's going to drip oil onto the slack side of the chain, and then that's going to get sucked up around here. And you're going to have an oil slinger down here. I don't think both are necessary, but. And the hole I drilled goes into that bolt right there. You can barely see it down in there. So that one goes through the valley, the other one does not. As oil fills up in the valley and just sits there, it can run down. Comes out of that little hole in the bolt, and then that's above the dripper there. So I've always been a fan of the setup on the small block Mopar for the thrust plate. Just seems really sturdy to me. You know, as compared to cam button or whatever. then as I push the cam in, you know, it got back in there in the cup, and there's really no way for air to get in there, so we'll kind of suck it in. It'll kind of vacuum it in there. It makes it kind of difficult to get it forward, but just popped on one of the backs of the lobe. It's real light. And push it forward, and then that takes the cam off for being all cattywampus. But it's more of a preference thing, just because I don't want to see it. Because eventually it would walk itself to where it's supposed to be anyway. Like I say, I think we're really close, and then once I get the stuff to degree it, I'll have to degree it to verify how the cam's installed. And then we'll pick up from there.
All right, so there we are. I guess moral of this story is, man, if you don't trust your tools, go ahead and stop. Take the time to make sure your tools are good. Because once you put an engine together, it's pretty hard to go back and give yourself any peace of mind. Because if you didn't trust your torque wrench and then you hear a little sound that might be a knock, you're going to be wondering. So I'm glad I stopped. Went and got a new torque wrench that I knew was calibrated, came with a cal sheet and everything, and then went ahead with assembly. But that was, you know, I have the peace of mind knowing I didn't proceed with an unknown factor. So there we are. That's episode 11. Next is probably going to be degreeing the camshaft, which, yeah, it's been a few years since I did that, but maybe I'll diagram out what I should have done versus what I actually did and share that with y'all. And, you know, keep coming back. I appreciate it. And like, subscribe, share, and all that stuff.